Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 9th, 2014. And this is before the first cup with just me, Lady Pitbull, here on UCY.TV. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody today? Nice and gray here, kind of let's see. It's almost 40. It's 37 right now. It's kind of nice for a December morning. A couple weeks till Christmas. I can't believe the time is going by. I'm not sure where Dodie and Jules are, but that's alright. I can just start the show, which is what I just did. So, hope everybody's having a pretty good morning. I just took this bioactive B12 liquid. And I'm not kidding around, guys. I don't drink coffee or nothing, but that is liquid crack. Let me tell you right now, especially on an empty stomach, I feel like I just drank a whole pot of coffee, man. Holy crap, that stuff's awesome. So, that's, I don't know, I'm kind of sitting here going, like I drank a whole pot of coffee. That stuff's really good. Beautiful color to it, wonderful taste. I just let it like soak under my tongue for like a couple of minutes, and then it's swallowed, and then man, you just feel like you just got like a giant rush of energy. It's totally awesome. I love B12. It's bioactive too, so it's been made properly. Well, I don't know where everybody else is. That's all right. Let's see. Hammy was dropping a bunch of cool articles this morning. Let's see where I can go with this. Let's see. I think I might as well start off with let's see, I'm going to start out with the GMOs, alright? So here it goes, it's just me going to be reading and commenting. So let me start with this one instead because, alright, it says that there's an European Union agreement. It opens the door for new GMO cultivation in 2015. So a lot of these European Council member states are up in arms about this because they've already banned GMO in their former countries. So, it says the Juncker Commission, whatever the hell that is, Juncker, Juncker Commission, has brought 4 years of discussions on GMO crops to a close. So apparently this is it. Extracting a composite from European Parliament and the Council. Member states that do not want GMOs cultivated inside their borders will retain the right to enforce a ban. So that's good. Sort of. But you know, I mean, it's ridiculous because, okay, so one little country bans the GMOs, and then the other country is allowed to grow this crap. So, I mean, the pollen goes everywhere. Everybody knows this. Let's see, the trilogue negotiations between Commission, Parliament, and European Council over the cultivation of genetically modified crops in Europe continued late into the night as of December 3rd, ending with a provisional agreement. This highly sensitive debate, which lasted 24 hours, was a priority for the new commission. Wow, Monsanto must be just getting their freaking, they're just trying to bribe, man. Let's see. The agreed text leaves Europe sitting on the fence on the issue. Member states will have the right to ban genetically modified crops, which are currently grown only in Spain, Portugal, and the Czech Republic. But new GMOs, already validated by the Commission, will be put on the market in the European Union as soon as the adoption of the text is finalized. This means that 7 GMOs already approved but not cultivated in Europe could find their way into European fields as soon as the text is finalized, in theory as early as next year. So, yeah, Monsanto's been passing that fundage around at the EU, let me tell you that. It says, political success for the Juncker Commission. In a statement issued on December 4th, Vytenis Andriukaitis, the Commissioner for Health, who was present throughout the 24-hour negotiations, welcomed the agreement, stating it would give member states the possibility to restrict or prohibit the cultivation of GMOs on their territory without affecting the EU risk assessment. What a line of bullshit. Holy crap. So basically, they're not quite acting as a European Union then, are they? Jeez, this is wonderful. The commissioner added that the text agreed is in line with President Juncker's commitment, as reflected in his political guidelines, to give the democratically elected governments, yeah, right, at least the same weight as scientific advice when it comes to important decisions concerning food and environment. God, what a freak. He also pointed out that the agreement remains provisional until it has been adopted by the Parliament and the European Council, which may take some time. It is unlikely that Europe's fields will be planted with newly approved GMOs next spring. Yeah, right. So, and the Greens are the Greenie Weenies are having a shit fit over this, of course. And the biotech lobby is pretty angry too. Let's keep reading. The situation in France, where public opinion overwhelmingly supports the government's decision to ban GMOs, is unlikely to change in the near future. French socialists MEP Gilles Pargneaux, I know I butchered that, sorry, welcomed the agreement, which he said would, quote, guarantee the protection of consumers, farmers, and member states like France that want to say no to GMOs. The text of the agreement gives compulsory guidance to member states for the development of coexistence measures, including in border areas, to avoid cross-pollination. Yeah, right. That's bullshit, man. That's never gonna... What? Let me read that again. That... Sure, that's really gonna work, dude. The text of the agreement gives, quote, compulsory guidance to member states for the development of coexistence measures, including in border areas, unquote, in order to avoid cross-pollination. How in the hell does that avoid cross-pollination? Oh my god, it's more like double speak mumbo jumbo and these freaking agreements and treaties and all this bullshit that they sign, like John Kerry and the freaking UN. Oh my god, it pisses me off. Alright, let me continue. The compromise reached by the European institutions quickly attracted anger from the parties from both sides of the argument. Let's see. It's Biet Spath. I can't quite pronounce it quite right. From the biotechnology lobby, Europa Bio expressed her disappointment at this non-cultivation agreement. It enables member states to formally eject safe products which are approved at European level. European farmers have not lost their freedom to choose, she said. Opponents of GMO are also unhappy with the agreement, particularly with the fact that the European Food Safety Authority's evaluation process for GMO crops has not been modified. Okay, so the Greenie Weenie I can't pronounce says, from France, the French Greenie Weenie here, said in the short term this change will allow multinationals like Monsanto to challenge national bans at the WTO, or if trade deals like TTIP are finalized in arbitration tribunals. Now that, give a little hand for the greenie weenie there. He's absolutely right on that. That's absolutely 100% right. That's exactly right, dude. Yeah, Monsata's gonna absolutely be able to do what they're kind of like what they're doing in Hawaii, right? By suing the Hawaiian government because their people voted no on GMO cultivation whatsoever in Hawaii, and it looks as though that this is going to give them the back door to do this in the European Union. So that is quite interesting. These Monsatan bastards, man, let me tell you right now. Satan. Let me tell you. Alright, so let me go on to this one because this is a nice little segue to that. So here we go with more, more quote unquote provocative moves by Vladimir Putin, and his, cabinet. I've got a smile ear to ear for some reason here on this one because it's pretty. This is the one Hammy dropped into the chat earlier. Thank you, Hammy. It's official. Russia has banned GMO products and it has a commitment now to organic food. This is awesome. This is absolutely going to put the bee more in the bonnet here, guys. I mean, OPEC and them just doing all this stuff with this is just gonna fuel the fire here. Alright, it says Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev recently announced that Russia will no longer import GMO products, stating that the nation has enough space resources to produce organic food. Well, hell yeah, they do. Actually, we do too. We just kick Monsatan out of here. Let's see. If the Americans like to eat GMO products, then let them eat then. Shit. Anybody? This is quite... Oh boy, here we go. Cold War is hot again, baby. We don't need to do that. We have enough space and opportunities to produce organic food. That was Dmitry Medvedev. Alright. Russia has been considering joining the long list and continually growing of anti-GMO countries for quite some time now, and it does so after a group of Russian scientists urged the government to consider at least a 10-year moratorium on GMOs to thoroughly study their influence on human health. I think they did that maybe 10 years ago? Let me see if it says. I remember that like in a foggy brain cell like back then. It goes on to say it is necessary to ban GMOs to impose moratorium on it for 10 years. While GMOs will be prohibited, we can plan experiments, tests, and maybe even new methods of research could be developed. It has been proven that not only in Russia, but also in many other countries in the world, GMOs are dangerous. Yeah. Let's see. Methods of obtaining the GMOs are not perfect. Therefore, at this stage, all GMOs are dangerous. That's a fairly safe assessment, I'd say. I agree with that. Consumption and use of GMOs obtained in such a way can lead to tumors, cancers, and obesity among animals. Biotechnologies certainly should be developed, but GMOs should be stopped, and we would stop it from spreading. And we should stop it from spreading. This Irina Markova, VP of Russia's National Association for Genetic Safety. Wow. Well, there you go. I would imagine that she would be knowledgeable enough to make that call. And that's really going to piss Monsatan off now, isn't it? Let's see. A number of scientists worldwide have clearly outlined the potential dangers associated with consuming GMOs. I recently published an article titled 10 Specific Studies Proving GMOs Can Be Harmful to Human Health. And you can read that in full right here on this little link, which I should probably click on after I read this. I'm not going to read it, though, because we all pretty much are full-on aware of the dangers of this crap from Satan. I don't think we need to beat that dead horse. But let me continue. These are just a select few out of the hundreds of studies that are now available in the public domain. It seems that they continue to surface year after year. So everybody's coming up with the same. Everybody who researches these GMOs are coming up with the same freaking results. All over the world, no matter where they're being studied. So this is obviously to their advantage, to their... I almost want to freaking move to Russia. Screw that, though. Let's ban it here. Let's see. Russia completely banning GMOs. Such a large developed nation is a big step forward in creating more awareness with regards to GMOs. Ask yourself, why have so many nations banned GMOs and pesticides that go with them? Because its evidence points the fact that they are not safe, they are young, and we just don't know enough about them to safely consume them. They just aren't necessary, so why produce them? Within the past few years, awareness regarding GMOs has skyrocketed. Activism has played a large role in waking up a large portion of the Earth's population in regards to GMOs. People are starting to ask questions and seek answers. In doing so, we are all coming to the same conclusion as Russia recently came to. Thank you. I think I just said that. In February, the State Duma introduced a bill banning the cultivation of GMO food products. President Putin ordered that Russian citizens are protected from GMOs. The state's Agriculture Committee has supported the ban recommendation from the Russian parliament, and the resolution will come into full effect in July of 2014. Wow, when the hell was this freaking... This was from Global Research News, November 19th, 2014. So that's last month. All right. This just goes to show what we can do when we come together and demand change and share information on a global scale. Change is happening, and we are waking up to new concepts of our reality every day. GMOs are only the beginning, and we have many things to rid our planet of that. To rid the planet of that do not resonate with us and are clearly unnecessary. We are all starting to see through the false justifications for the necessity of GMOs. No longer are we so easily persuaded. No longer do we believe everything we hear and everything we are presented with. Let's keep it going. Okay, so there we go, guys. That pretty much summed that one up. No one has contacted me, neither Zorie nor Jules, so we'll keep going. Let me pop in here. Oh, look, Maddie and JJ. Hi, JJ, and Charles is in there. Hi to everybody in the chat room. Captain Grinko. Acty, hey, what's up? Alright, guys, well, that's, I guess it's just me here. I don't necessarily want to just be droning on reading the entire 2 hours either. So let's see. Gosh, this is the first time I've done this all on my own, which is okay. I can get away from some of the stuff we talk about all the time here. Oh, here we go. Here is something that I really, really, really wanted to touch on. There was another dead banker found in Belgium recently. And that makes it the 36th dead banker of the year. Okay? They're being suicided. They're being in car crashes. They're finding themselves dead in all kinds of ways. Yeah, here we go with another one. It says 52-year-old Belgian Geert Tak, a private banker for ING who managed portfolios for wealthy individuals, was described as impeccable, sporty, cared for, and successful. And so, as Vermeest reports, after disappearing, this dude disappeared. After disappearing a month ago, the appearance of his body off the coast of Orsted is surrounded by riddles. So do you think? Oh, man. So, let's see. Tak disappeared on November 5th. All right, so let me... Oh, this is all in freaking... Okay, this ain't gonna work because it's all in Dutch. I don't know if there's an English version of this, but I definitely can't read this one. So, let me see. Hold on, let me get back to where I was. Sorry. All right, but this is interesting. And let's see. Geet Tact. Oh, wait, I think it's Gert. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Gert Tak worked as a private banker for ING and managed portfolios of wealthy clients. The Belgian had a lot of respect in the financial world and was known as an up-top professional. His sudden disappearance was also smashed like a bomb. If Tak himself was having trouble, he has managed to keep it well hidden, say his colleagues. Nobody then could have guessed that the man would not return on Wednesday, November 5th, to his wife in their Villa Volden, whatever, and was found dead off this weekend off the coast of Ostend. Wow, so oh man. On December 3rd, the body was found on the coast of Ostend and removed from the water. The prosecutor confirmed today that it is Geert Tak, but is still awaiting further results of the autopsy as for exact cause of death. The results of toxicological testing are not yet known. As Vermeest comments, he was well-liked and successful, but the situation of his disappearance remained odd to say the very least. What makes the matter is that the extra... Oh, wait, hold on, guys. Somebody's tapping me in the... Oh. It's from Chuck. Well, thanks, Chuck. I appreciate that. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna reread that. Alright. It's hard to do two things at once. Right. So, Tak had a few weeks earlier in his car, drove into each... Wait a second. Let me reread that other one. Sorry, guys. What makes the matter is that in the extra mysterious circumstances under which he disappeared are rather peculiar. Tak had a few weeks earlier, his car drove into each other, and if the garage then take away a replacement car? What? That's weird, man. I think that's lost in translation there. Oddly enough, he made it much later, shortly before he disappeared, use what? The car, a Renault Espance, has been found in Knock, but Tak missing to date each track. That's weird. That's exactly what it said. I think that's been lost in translation. I know I just had a real hard time reading that. Also, why he had in the weeks before the disappearance sometimes so difficult to get to sleep. Why he did that Wednesday morning, his laptop and cell phone at home. Okay, this is exactly how this is read here, guys. Although a desperate act cannot be excluded, there are also people who take into account that the missing part of a preconceived plan. From his position, Tack had the opportunity to be there, whether or not forced by third parties to run off with money from his clients. It is a hypothesis that is being seriously investigated by federal police, but where colleagues want to know anything. Something like that would never do. One of them said, certainly, Geert is a blameless man. So, well, nonetheless, he is the 36th dead banker of the year, and it lists all 36 of these guys. I guess I could run down through this list, but it says the first one. Well, I don't know if I should go through this whole damn list, but I mean, they're from J.P. Morgan and Swiss AG, Deutsche Bank, Levy Capital, you name it, AG, all over. Let's see. Oh, look at this, guys. Number 22 is Richard Rockefeller, 66. It says, Arkentekelenzoon Elite Bankier. That's what it says. John D. Rockefeller, America. Merika. That's how it's spelled. That's what it says. That is freaking weird. I am going to post that one in the chat room because it's bizarrely written. But it's a Rockefeller that was... you know what? I'm going to put that... Hang on. Let me put that sucker in the search engine. Let me see here. Put this in the chat. Thanks, Chuck, for wanting to help me out, man. That rocks. Hang on. This thing will not enter into the chat room. That's bizarre. Guys, I just tried to put... Whoa. Holy crap. That was weird. I just tried to post this thing in the chat room just now. I'm going to try it again. There it is. But the first time I tried to do it, it disappeared. It was like as I was pushing enter. I pushed enter twice, and it disappeared, and now it's been... That's weird. Some weird crap's been going on in the chat room. Like, I'll post some shit in there, and right when you push enter, like the thing posts the statement in the chat room, and then 2 seconds later, the whole chat room blinks off, and then the statement I just posted is gone. I don't know, man. It's just some weird crap going on in here. Let's see. Hang on a minute. Let me put that in a freaking search engine, and let's find out how this Rockefeller died, because that is weird. Hang on just a minute. I'm not seeing anything. Hang on just a sec. Wait a sec. Hang on, I'm just putting this in the... I want to see how this Rockefeller dude died. Damn it. Hang on. Sorry, guys. I guess I should have asked Chuck to do that, but I'm doing it on air, and you'll have to bear with me. At least, let's see. Richard Rockefeller. Let's see. Oh, hang on. That's not the one I want. Screw Wikipedia, you bastards. Apparently, hang on a second. Here we go. Ow. Richard Rockefeller, great-grandson of John D. Rockefeller, dies in a plane crash. Holy crap, look at that. Richard Rockefeller, son of philanthropist David Rockefeller and great-grandson of Standard Oil founder and philanthropist John T. Rockefeller, was killed. All right, this is from, let's see. Wow, Friday, June 13th of 2014. So this past June. It says Richard Rockefeller was killed Friday in the crash of a single engine plane in Westchester County, New York, a family representative and airport officials said. Rockefeller, 65, was the only one on board the Piper PA F6 500TP Meridian aircraft when it crashed at 8:08 a.m. Friday, less than a mile from takeoff at an airport near White Plains, airport manager Peter Shearer said after the crash. He said the plane disappeared from radar and authorities lost contact with the pilot. At 8:23 a.m., police were notified that a plane had crashed in the hamlet of Purchase, missing a house by only 200 feet, Shearer said. Rockefeller was headed to Portland, Maine after flying into New York on Thursday for his father's 99th birthday, he said. Shearer described Rockefeller as an experienced pilot and said the morning was foggy with a quarter-mile visibility. This is a terrible tragedy, the Rockefeller family said in a statement released by spokesperson Peter F. Schietzel. The family is in shock. Richard was a wonderful and cherished son, brother, husband, father, and grandfather. He was an experienced pilot and a respected medical doctor. It is just horribly sad. So basically, he wasn't even a banker. He was just a medical doctor, but his family's a bankers. Rockefeller was a practicing physician in Portland until 2000, according to his biography posted on the Rockefeller Brothers Fund website, where he is listed as an advisory trustee. Okay, there you go. Rockefeller also taught medicine in Maine from 1982 until 2000, according to the website. He founded and was president of the Health Commons Institute, of course, a nonprofit organization dedicated to, quote, improving American medicine. Yeah, right. Yeah, we know how they freaking improved it with all the vaccines and shit. Jeez. And all the farmies. Holy crap, you improved it all right. All right, and he was the chairman of the He was the chairman of the U.S. Advisory Board of Doctors Without Borders, ding, 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 from 1989 until 2010. He has 2 grown children residing in Foulmouth, Maine. That's pretty apropos. Foulmouth, Maine. Home of the Rockefellers. Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration are investigating the crash site, and the NTSB are on their way to the scene. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the NTSB were on their way to the scene to help cover up some freaking inside crap. Shit. Alright, we know about the NTSB. Need I say more? Alright, well, there's that. So, lots of bankers have died here, guys. Let's see. There's a lot. 36, and the year isn't even over yet. We still got 3 more weeks, so. Any other bankers want to step up to the plate, either willingly or unwillingly? I don't know. Holy crap. So there we go. Where else am I going to go? Shit. There is let's see. Nah, I'm not going to read that. Well, I'm going to get that out of there. Get out of there. Let's see. Well, guys, I don't know where to go from here. I haven't heard from either one of my colleagues today, so I'm not sure. I hope Zorie's all right. That's funny. I don't know, Chuck. If you want to come in, I could bring you in. If you want to come on with me and just like talk instead of hearing me drone on. There is something here about Feinstein. Oh yeah. Here we go. Feinstein's leaving her intelligence job amid clash on tactics report. So here we go with more rats jumping the ship, guys. Well, Chuck, if you want to just come on with me and chit-chat about stuff or whatever, just, drop me a little Skype line or whatever if you want to. You don't have to. It's all right. Let's see. As head of the Senate Intelligence Committee since 2009, Dianne Finkelstein has spent hundreds and hundreds of hours in secret briefings, of course she has, and seen thousands of pictures from battlefields in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. And she keeps 2 images with her. Oh God. All right, cool. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Chuck in here. Let me do that. All right, here. So Feinstein shows a little girl wearing a gingham dress. What the hell is gingham? I don't know. That's a Bill Hicks joke. White tights and black Mary Janes. What the hell? But the girl's head is gone. Oh, isn't that nice? And she keeps these 2 images with her. Are you fucking kidding me? Feinstein. Are you there, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm here. Mary Jane's her shoes. They're describing her clothing, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She keeps these images with her. What the hell? All right. Another one is a teenage boy, duct tape over his mouth, eyes bulging out, and forced to hold 2 severed heads. So she keeps these 2 images with her at all times, apparently.
My first thought is, you gotta store your porn somehow. So
exactly.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, man. I ain't kidding around. I ain't never read anything like that. I mean, why would you keep 2 images like that with you? It shows you how truly evil this really... I mean, she's a crazy lunatic. What does she do? Like, oh my God.
Well, they're not going to select sane people to be on the, on the committee to handle intelligence and all that anyway.
No, apparently not.
Especially not the head. And I mean, did you even? I didn't hear exactly the beginning of the show, but I mean, did you cover the torture stuff yet?
Oh no, I certainly haven't.
Okay.
I probably should. I'm just kind of flitting and floating in the wind here right now, which is all right. But go ahead.
No problem. I mean, it's already big. They're making a big hullabaloo about this. But what cracks me up is, and the thing that I bet you a couple of people are going to say is that, this again is the, hello, Mr. Fox. How many chickens have actually gotten killed by the mystery man in the hen house with you? These people are always constantly, sticking the microscope up their own backsides in order to examine what they've already done and what they've already known about. If you think the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence or the Senate Committee for Intelligence or whatever didn't know what was going on, you're out of your mind. So
yeah, absolutely. And so she's leaving. She's jumping ship. The rats are jumping the ship, man. I mean, they absolutely are.
Well, right. This is why Holder's getting out. This is why Hagel's getting out.
Now Feinstein. So apparently there's no one left from Obama's original cabinet left.
Well, right. And, of course, the argument is that, what are they going to do? They got to get out because it's a lame duck situation. They're not going to get carried over into the next administration, blah, blah, blah. But it's all bull. It's just a maneuvering in order to avoid their, their own culpability and all these things. Holder, I mean, we know about Holder and what he's doing. And, of course, this Lynch character, man, I mean, have you checked out Loretta Lynch?
Oh, no, I have not. Go ahead and shed some light on that, if you would.
Well, she's, ostensibly going to be the one to replace Holder, right, after he takes off, which he's not out of there just yet. So, it's going to require confirmation and all that. But, of course, there is that interesting connection that Holder and Lynch come out of kind of the same offices, right?
Yeah.
That we have the involvement in the earlier cases where there was, the cop killings and all that. So, of course, that's coincidence, right?
Sure. Sure. And that's why Eric Holder's still there to make some quick decisions on this new crisis that they had to rule on, right?
Well, of course. I mean, but this is the thing. And, what makes me really afraid is as I step back a little bit from it, I mean, because we're all angry about, the cops being out of control and the militarization of the police, in all sectors of society in this country, right? But I'm stepping back and I'm looking at it because there's an increase in flyovers and things, and I think that they're actually watching to see what's happening on the streets so they can get a good sort of gauge. Because again, this is one of those take a pinprick and see what happens to the big dog before you really set it off. I mean, that's what I keep seeing regarding this whole civil unrest situation. They're examining it so that they can take notes, pretty much.
It's a beta test, is what it is.
There you go. That was the phrase I was looking for, but I'm barely awake, so.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, thanks for coming on with me. That's awesome. It's good that nobody has to hear just me droning on and reading stuff in a monotonous voice.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. I was just thinking you might need a minute to maneuver because sometimes I have that problem too where, I just okay, if I just had 10 seconds where I could shut up and look at this, I could figure it out and get 5 things set up,
Right, exactly. That's all right. I mean, hey, that's what live radio is all about, so.
Exactly.
Very cool, man. Yeah, so what is it? She's the head of the New York federal arm of what this Garner investigation would be, right? Is that correct? Correct. It's her office is the federal arm of New York City. Is that correct?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take a look at that because I want to make sure we get that right. I do know that she would be the one responsible for handling this.
That's what I mean.
But I'm not sure exactly what her title is.
I don't either. I'm not sure either. And so, I mean, I think Judge Napolitano said it in a clip that I posted. I'm not sure. I can't remember if Jules played it or not. I think she did. I wish I could play clips, but Napolitano was saying that to that effect, I think, the other day.
Yeah, she was appointed by Obama in 2010. She's a U.S. attorney in... come on, move it along. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, the Eastern District of New York.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's where she is. And let's see, took the oath of office, United States... okay, I'm just kind of skimming through this really quickly.
Sure.
Before joining the U.S. Attorney's Office in 1990, Ms. Lynch practiced law as a litigation associate for a leading New York-based firm. She began her career in the Eastern District prosecuting narcotics and violent crime cases. Ms. Lynch served as chief of the Long Island office from 1994 to 1998, after serving as the deputy chief of general crimes and as chief of intake and arraignments for the district. While in the Long Island office, she prosecuted white-collar crime and public corruption cases and was the lead prosecutor in a series of trials involving allegations of public corruption in the Long Island town of Brookhaven. Ms. Lynch also served the district as chief assistant, where she was a member of the trial team in United States versus Volpe, V-O-L-P-E et al., a 5-week civil rights case involving the sexual assault by New York City police officers on Haitian immigrant Abner Louima. Okay, this is where the connection was made by Napolitano, because she was part of the people that actually tried to prosecute those officers. You remember Abner Louima, Wendy?
No, I don't.
Well, for a little while there, people were running around in the streets actually holding up plungers and things.
Oh.
Now, do you remember why that happened?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Abner Louima was an immigrant, like they said, from Haiti, and had been taken into police custody, had been beaten and sodomized with what was once reported as a broom handle, one time
Holy
reported
crap.
as a plunger, brutalized and taken to the hospital by the cops after they brutalized him, and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, here was another failure to prosecute or to indict based on through normal means and all that. Abner Louima was one of those landmark cases back in the day there.
I think I remember some like brain cell rub about that, like something really like, but I never really paid much attention because I was too busy being an idiot back in those days. So.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I could read a little more about this if you want. I mean, just to give us a little more flavor about it.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that they're going to wait until the Republicans come in, or are they going to try and jam her through on like Christmas Eve or some shit?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know if the already dysfunctional congressional situation is pretty funny. I mean, we already had the Do Nothing Congress anyway, regardless of whose team they were supposed to be on. Right?
Yeah.
They had passed less legislation than like any other Congress in I don't know how long. They weren't doing the work anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Regardless of, whose team you were supposed to be on, and now, already threatening to shut down the government before even taking office is a pretty interesting stance for these guys to take who are, the senators-elect and the representatives-elect. But, it's all part of the game.
It is. Absolutely, without a doubt. Just crazy, man. Just absolutely nuts.
So just a touch more background on Lynch. Miss Lynch was appointed by President William Jefferson Clinton as United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, serving from 1999 to 2001. See, that was one of those last-minute things that he did.
Mm-hmm.
While U.S. Attorney Miss Lynch was a member of the Attorney General's Advisory Committee, serving as co-chair of the White Collar Crime Subcommittee. She was a frequent instructor for the Department of Justice in their criminal trial advocacy program and served as an adjunct professor at St. John's University School of Law. Before returning to the office as United States Attorney in 2010, Ms. Lynch was a partner in the New York office of Hogan and Hartson LLP and was a member of the firm's litigation group. Her practice focused on commercial litigation, white-collar criminal defense. Notice, we go from prosecuting the white-collar crimes to criminal defense of white-collar crimes. But, excuse me. And corporate compliance issues.
Yeah.
Corporate compliance issues. There's a phrase for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me back to the text. Sorry again. While at Hogan, Miss Lynch also served as special counsel to the prosecutor of the ICTR and conducted a special investigation into allegations of witness tampering and false testimony at the tribunal. Miss Lynch received her A.B. cum laude from Harvard College in 1981. She received her J.D. from Harvard School in 1984, where she was an advisor to the first-year moot court competition and a member of the Legal Aid Bureau and Harvard Black Law Student Association. Okay. That's pretty interesting, though, that, this is, again, one of these people who goes, gee, I got to learn the criminals from the prosecutor side. Let me go and defend them now.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to being a prosecutor. So revolving door. Hello, Miss Lynch.
No wonder they want her.
Well, right. I mean, look, if you can. That is the mark of a good lawyer, right, Wendy?
Yeah, man. Got to play both sides. That's what they're looking for. That's absolutely what they're looking for. Someone who plays both sides.
Oh man. Yeah, and and of course everybody's commenting on exactly how odd she appears, but Obama likes to have people that have slightly odd appearances get photographed. It seems
like he kind of looks like a shriveled up old Obama or something like that. Shriveled up old version of Obama.
Yeah. Yeah, although you got to admit, Obama's just a little more feminine. But,
He is. Oh my God, he is, man. I mean, it's just nasty. I just saw the clips real quick on, the stupid tube last night. I frequently look at local news. You know what I mean? Because lots happens in Detroit, and it's always real interesting. So that's why I kind of pay attention to it. But Obama had he had a little meeting with like the prince, I guess, yesterday, and the gushing smile on that dude's face made me want to freaking puke. He was just smiling the whole time, like, I totally want to dink on you, dude. You know what I mean? It's just so nasty.
It cracked me up. I do this 1 hour thing on another network, and I was looking at that headline like while I was doing it, and I said, I was a whole lot more fascinated when Homer Simpson met Peter Griffin.
Oh yeah.
Because why is it that people are still adhering to this whole thing about, being Anglophiles and, giving worship to the British royals, et al. Yeah. I don't understand this. I really never have. But it's one of those weird things. I mean, I forget precisely how old you are, but I bet you're just old enough to remember that when we were young, there was the big deal about broadcast live via satellite. We're going to watch, Prince Charles, marry Lady Diana.
Oh yeah.
And it was a huge, huge deal.
It was just gigantic, and it's nothing but freaking queen worship. It's nasty, and the Americans are just like bowing down wherever these two go, and just kissing their feet and worshiping them. It's sick.
Right, and it's sort of like, even if you're not awake and aware, I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive. We threw off the British monarchy, as it were, and now we're still like sycophants over here worshiping them.
Sure.
I'm not. Nobody I know is, but obviously there's an audience for this crap, and there's still a reason to care. And why would the president of the United States be meeting with a guy who's second in line for the throne of England and all this other stuff? It's a little ridiculous.
It is. It makes me want to freaking puke. I just heard the little baby squeal. That was so cute.
Yeah, he was taking a nap. That's why I offered to jump in. Now he's awake and making noise. So.
Oh, if you have to take off, I understand, man.
Yeah, I just figured I'd, like I said, come in, and if you wanted to get a couple more things together or something, so, go right ahead.
That's awesome. Thanks for your help, man. I appreciate you just being on for a minute.
No problem. Anytime at all. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go grab him, but
right on.
But it is definitely a weird situation, and getting stranger. And I'm telling you right now, when it comes to this whole thing that you're going to see over the next couple of days, I mean, on Saturday I'm going to have that military intelligence guy that was at Abu Ghraib's back on.
Ooh, right on.
And we're gonna talk about this. This whole situation with the stuff coming out with the CIA. I mean, he was a military intelligence guy, but obviously had some CIA training as well.
Yeah.
And was there for the enhanced interrogation, while I hold up my air quotes, which was nothing more than torture. And the surprising thing to me is that this should be no big deal. This is just part of the game because they're just playing it out. The rest of the world is well aware of the crap that's been pulled here, and regardless of how you feel about it, you can't continuously take the moral high road and expect people to buy it when they know that you're involved in this stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better, really. I mean, because and that's going to be an interesting show to catch. So when's that going to be on?
Oh, I'll be on Saturday night with that one, and that guy's name was Frank Gregory Ford. So
cool.
We'll see how that goes. But he's the guy who I had on who told me that he had actually been there, and he's suing. He's actually suing the military right now, and the U.S. government over the fact that he's the only American to actually survive being renditioned out of Iraq.
Wow, no shit, huh?
Yeah.
My goodness.
So he's got kind of an adversarial point of view on the whole thing, even though he was a trained intelligence operative and had been there in a medical capacity, actually trying to take care of these guys after they had been interrogated. So, we'll talk to him about that. And I'm sure a whole lot more play is going to go on in the in all forms of media about this stuff. But
Absolutely.
But it's all just part of the show, man. It's just we weren't aware that they were doing it, even though that they were advised the whole way through, and it was, it is what it is. It's just part of the game to have plausible deniability, which is always a key when it comes to this kind of stuff. I can send people to assassinate other people so long as it can't be tied back to me. It's just fine. You can send your operatives to go rob things and go disrupt governments and cause uprisings and things like that, so long as it can't be tied back to you. And torture is no different from those tactics. So
that's right.
Let's remember that. And I'm not even saying that it's one of those things that morally might not work, or, well, not morally, but I mean that might not work from a tactical standpoint. I'm not saying that because I'm not fully aware of exactly how it all works, but a lot of false confessions were gotten this way. A lot of misdirection was gotten this way. And let's be honest, I mean, you start simulating drowning on people and all this kind of stuff, you're going to elicit just about any response you want after you exhaust somebody.
Damn right. And have you talked to him about that aspect of it?
Off the air, yeah, but we're
the air. Well, yeah, you should totally talk about that specific aspect of it, whether it's viable or not. And I'm sure he's going to tell you it's not, but I don't know. I wasn't there, so.
Well, you know what? I'll get it from him. Maybe I'm all wrong about this, and I ought to just be quiet and understand that this is the way the business is done, but it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Anyway.
All right on, Chuck. I'll let you go, and thanks for hopping on with me, dude.
Never a problem. Thank you, and you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. So,
thanks a lot, man. Take care.
No problem. Hope everybody's all right, Jules and Zorie and everybody. So,
me too.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I know that John Kerry last night said that the release of these documents now on the CIA torture should not be released because it could embolden our enemies in the Middle East. And so all of a sudden, now, here it comes. It says, and just right on the heels of after Kerry saying that, here it comes, dun, 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 the U.S. prepares for security risks from torture report. Right after John Kerry said, hey, don't release that stuff due to national security. So, obviously, it's already been leaked. There's nothing they can do about it for the most part at this particular juncture, I'm sure, because they've announced that it's already coming out. So obviously other parties have gotten it that they have no control over, which is why we have this here out of Washington. American embassies, military unit, and other U.S. interests are preparing for possible security threats related to the release of a report on the CIA's harsh interrogation techniques at secret overseas facilities after the 9/11 terror attacks. The report from the Senate's Intelligence Committee will be the first public accounting of the CIA's use of, and my whole thing just jumped around. Wow. Hey, hang on a minute. The report from the Senate Intelligence Committee will be the first public accounting of the CIA's use of what critics call torture on Al-Qaeda detainees held at quote-unquote black sites in Europe and Asia. Black sites. The committee on Tuesday was expected to release a 480-page executive summary at the 6,000-plus page report compiled by Democrats on the panel. And John Kerry, the head little Democrat, is saying don't release it. So yeah, here we go. Moving on, there are some indications that the release of the report could lead to a greater risk that is posed to U.S. facilities and individuals all around the world. Yep, nobody in the world is safe, guys. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said Monday the administration has taken the prudent steps to ensure that the proper security precautions are in place at U.S. facilities around the globe. Army Colonel Steve Warren at a Pentagon spokesman said, there is certainly the possibility that the release of this report could cause unrest, and therefore combatant commands have been directed to take protective measures. Wow, did you hear that, guys? So they are... Guys, you know what? The timing of this might be right on time as these protests are ramping up all over the country about police abuse. And now we've got police and CIA abuses, which we've all known about for quite some time. It's not like this is anything new. So I don't understand why they would have to prepare for the possibility of unrest. It says U.S. officials who read the report say it includes disturbing new details about the CIA's use of techniques such as sleep deprivation, confinement in small spaces, humiliation, and simulated drowning process known as waterboarding. It alleges that the harsh interrogations failed to produce unique, life-saving intelligence, a conclusion disputed by current and former intelligence officials, including CIA Director John Brennan. And we all remember back in the day when Judge Alito called he said it's not torture, it's pressure. So remember that, everybody. It wasn't torture, okay? According to Judge Alito, it was pressure. Just a little bit of pressure, and that's all that was exerted. Don't forget that down your memory holes, folks. All right. It also asserts that the CIA lied. Really? Wow. Tell us something else we don't know. It also asserts that the CIA lied about the covert program to officials at the White House. Oh, sure. The officials at the White House didn't know this either. The Justice Department and Congressional Oversight Committees. Oh, like those fuckers didn't know about this shit going on? Give me a break. Oh, because the CIA lied. Oh, it's the CIA's fault. They're the one that lied. That is just retarded. It's bullshit. Oh, God. President Barack Obama has said, we tortured some folks. That's what he said about it. We tortured some folks. Sorry, that was just hilarious. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, this guy is dumb as a stump. What the hell is he doing at the top guy in this country? Obama is an idiot. I'm almost thinking he's worse than Bush, but that's really hard to do. Jeez. Ernest said that regardless of whether the U.S. gleaned important intelligence through interrogations, the president believes, oh, really? That the use of those tactics was unwarranted and that they were inconsistent with our values and did not make us safer. What the White House has said, it welcomes the release of the summary. Officials say they do have concerns about potential security threats that could follow. And here we go. Just as I said at the beginning of the article, on Friday, Secretary of State John Kerry asked the committee's chairwoman, Senator Dianne Feinstein, to, quote, consider the timing of the release. Yeah, consider it and wait till more cop beatings happen, then release it. Right? Is that it, asshole? Bastard. White House officials and Obama have been aware that Kerry planned to raise the issue with Feinstein, but they insisted the president contributed to support the report's release. So, Wow, man. There you go. I think I said pretty much everything about it I needed to say. I mean, because this is purely transparently stupid. In fact, I don't know, man. They're just gonna. We've known this for ever since it was happening. We've known this that was going on. We've been talking about this for years and years and years. Now, all of a sudden, it's getting released after all this time. Yeah, John Kerry was right. Timely, if we have to consider the timing of the release. Absolutely. They're timing it to go along with all this protest and unrest that's happening now in hopes to inflame more protest and more unrest. This is what their objective is, obviously. It's quite apparent if you know what you're looking at, as most of our listeners do. So, let's see. There we go with that. I think that... Yikes. Well, I don't know. All of these things with these protesters and all of these new, like, there was a football guy that wrote "I can't breathe" on his shoe before a game, and then now LeBron James jumps into a basketball game and he's got an "I can't breathe" t-shirt on. And frankly, all this stuff is honestly, it's making me sick, because taking the last words from a dead man's mouth and making like t-shirts out of it is kind of sick to me. It's almost as sick as Dianne Feinstein carrying around this headless girl and young teenage kid being forced to hold two severed heads around with her. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it just shows you the level of sickness that is these people that are running our country. And there's no limit to where they've been and where they're willing to go. We have to understand what we're dealing with and what we're up against here. And I think that most people like no clue how literally sick and sadistic that these people are. And then and everybody is like, all these protesters are having these die-ins where people lie on the ground and say, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." And it's before they were saying "I can't breathe," they were saying they were holding their hands in the air. You know what I mean? It was just I can't wrap my head around the sickness of these things and why they're becoming trends. And the reason why they're becoming trends is because the more power they are allowed to have in society, right, the more power that these evil, sick bastards glean from it. They feed off of everybody's fear. They're feeding off of all of this energy that these, Hollywood and all of these freaking sports people are they're reflecting this evil that in the air. I mean, and people feed off of it like constantly, and they're like pretending like that they're making a statement. You know what I mean? And they're not. They're actually aiding the evil that's out there. That's my opinion of it. Really, they're feeding into this shit. And let me continue that freaking Feinstein thing, man, because I should probably read it over again, but because it's worth hearing it again, actually. As head of the Senate I'm going to start this whole article over. Sorry, guys. I know you've already heard it, but I'm going to do it anyway. As the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee since 2009, Dianne Feinstein has spent hundreds of hours in secret briefings and seen thousands of pictures from battlefields in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. She keeps 2 images with her. One shows a little girl wearing a gingham dress, white tights, and black Mary Janes, but the girl's head is gone. Another photo is of a teenage boy, duct tape over his mouth, eyes bulging out, being forced to hold 2 severed heads. It goes on to say, to me, this is what Feinstein said. To me, it's what we're up against, Feinstein said in an interview. It's a testament to pure evil. Guys, didn't I just basically almost said that exact thing? And then, oh my God. The senior senator from California has spent more than 14 years on the Senate's most secretive committee, and through much of that time, she has defended the country's intelligence establishment. Yikes. She insisted that the National Security Agency was right to secretly collect data on huge numbers of telephone calls made by Americans. And she backed the CIA's covert use of predator drones to conduct targeted killings in half a dozen nations. But as she prepares to turn over the committee's gavel next month to Senator Richard M. Burr, Republican of North Carolina, Feinstein's tenure as chairwoman is closing, thank God, amid an anachromous fight over a project that pits her against the CIA. Yeah, remember when she got all freaked out when the CIA was eavesdropping on her? She lost her freaking panties. You remember that? Her staff has completed a 600-page report evaluating and criticizing the agency's use during the George W. Bush years of harsh interrogation tactics, which President Obama and others have labeled as torture. And how much, people, do you want to make a freaking bet that way after Obama was even elected, that CIA torture still continues to this day? I can almost guarantee it. All right? And they will continue in the future. Since April, Feinstein has been fighting with the CIA and the White House to make public as much as possible the report's 480-page executive summary. I thought it was 600-something pages. In recent days, Feinstein and administration officials have resolved the final debates over how much will be blacked out of the public version of the report, which means rejection. Oh my God, that pisses me off. On Friday, Secretary of State John Kerry, acting on behalf of the administration, called Feinstein to ask her to delay the release. Making the report public now would threaten the security of American personnel overseas, Kerry told her. Yeah, right, well, they didn't do that shit in Benghazi now, did they? The report put Feinstein in an agonizingly difficult position. Delay the release and run the risk that Burr and the Republicans will block the report after they take over in January, or go ahead and take the blame if American foreign countries are harmed. Nice choice you got there, honey. Holy crap. But if you carry those pictures around with you at all times, I have a feeling you're not going to give a crap if American foreign countries are harmed. So watch this thing get released. At the heart of the report is a review of 20 cases, heavily redacted, in which interrogators used brutality and inhumane treatment to produce what the CIA says was useful intelligence. Leon E. Panetta, who served under Obama as CIA director from 2009 to 2011, wrote in his memoir, Worthy Fights, such that such methods should not have been used, but the CIA got, quote, critical intelligence from them. What we can't know, he says, what we'll never know is whether those were the only ways to elicit that information, Panetta wrote. Feinstein believes her report does provide a definitive answer. The staff has looked at all 20 and they believe that isn't true, Feinstein said, referring to the claim that the harsh methods led to actionable intelligence. The committee's 6-year-long review of thousands of CIA documents concluded that the harsh interrogations were ineffective and that the information learned in most cases could have been found using other methods. Yeah, they've got other methods that they have perfected for years and years and years and years and years, as well as lots of weird, crazy pharmaceutical drug cocktails that they use as well. So that's probably the other methods that this silly cow is referring to. It says the report specifically says that the harsh tactics were not necessary to obtain details that led the CIA to Osama bin Laden's career and ultimately to Osama bin Laden's compound in Pakistan, which is a load of shit. And she knows it. The battle over the report contrasts with much of Feinstein's tenure. Even her Republican opponents praise her efforts to steer the committee after the turmoil of the Bush era. Oh, yeah. Blame it on Bush again. I never felt like Diane was being a partisan Democrat when it comes to national security, and I think that's why she kind of jihad. Wait a minute. I think that's why she and I kind of jihad so well together, said Senator Saxby Chambliss, Republican of Georgia, who has been the top Republican on the committee but is retiring from the Senate at the end of the month. Well, good that he's leaving too. Fine, Stinky, and Chambliss cut through the political whirl surrounding the attacks on the American diplomatic facility in Benghazi, Libya in 2012 to produce a bipartisan report that dismissed claims that a, quote, tactical warning, unquote, had predicted an attack that day. And 5 years after... and after 5 years of gridlock stemming from the angry debate over how top Bush administration officials had used intelligence to justify the invasion of Iraq, Feinstein ushered 4 partisan bills through Congress that defined the authority of the intelligence agencies to conduct covert and clandestine operations. See, so it's not all George freaking Bush and his ilk, which was bad enough, but they just set the stage for Feinstein and the rest of her ilk to come in and push this shit over the edge, which clearly they've done. Especially with drone attacks and things of that nature. Feinstein also defended the CIA against efforts by the Pentagon to eclipse the agency's covert drone program. She believes the CIA has a better track record than the military and more experience with the strikes. So she condemns the CIA out of one side of her ass and then supports the CIA out of the other side of her ass. Where have we seen that before? We see that everywhere before. That's how these assholes operate. And the next asshole that takes her place is going to do the same damn thing. Regardless if it's fine, stinky, or not. Here we go. They have the patience, and they will wait until the situation is right, Feinstein said. They're not hotheads. Making the decision on when to fire, she said. She has sent committee staff members into the CIA more than 50 times to make unannounced visits to watch the operation of the drone program, she said. The number of civilians killed in CIA strikes has declined in the past few years, she said. Collateral damage is low, Feinstein said, which one of her which was one of her goals, and when she increased oversight of the targeting killing program after she took control of the committee. I have to laugh at this. Oh my god. I mean, really, how do you put lipstick on a fucking pig here, you guys? That's what this whole article is trying to do. You just can't do it, man. Oh my god. But here we go. I gotta keep reading this. But none of that has yielded backing for Fine Stinky on the interrogation report. Republicans were initially part of the study, but pulled out in 2009, say they did not want to interfere with the Department of Justice investigation into the deaths of 2 detainees held in CIA custody. By the time General Criminal Eric H. Holder Jr. announced in August of 2012 that no one would be charged in the deaths, Chambliss and the Democrats' inquiry was far too down the road for Republicans to jump back in. What a load of freaking bullshit that is. Holy shit, I can't even believe this crap, man. Don't believe everything you read. Even some of those who side with Fine Stinky in criticizing the CIA's actions are skeptical of the effort that has gone into the report. Yeah, really, you think? It's probably beating a dead horse, Senator Lindsey Graham. Of course, she wants you to look somewhere else, said in an interview, referring to the thousands of hours that Fine Stinky's staff spent compiling the classified report. Obama banned coercive interrogation methods and ordered the CIA to close its remaining overseas prisons on his first full day in office in January 2009, Graham noted. Yeah, right. Well, he also was supposed to shut down Guantanamo Bay, but that still remains open. Yeah, right. But Graham added, the extensive documentation could prevent a future administration from restoring to similar methods. At the end of the day, it is important to not repeat these things, Graham said. Yeah, Lindsey Graham wants you to look somewhere else. Fucking bastard. The final chapter in the debate began in August when the White House presented Fine Stinky with a declassified version of the summary, which is about 15% redacted. Shit. Unbelievable. Fine Stinky was angry. The redactions obscured the roles of key CIA officers, she said, and the public would not be able to understand how people inside the agency had made critical decisions. They redacted our argument, Fine Stinky said. Like she's all hurt and shit. It's a freaking laugh and a half. It's like, I don't know, these people should like go to Hollywood after they're done. They're great actors. After Fine Stinky's staff hit an impasse with the CIA director John Brennan, the White House took over the negotiations. For some unfathomable reason, Fine Stinky said. Oh, really? It's unfathomable? That they would want to take that over from your staff? Because, oh my God. Over the summer, the White House Chief of Staff, Dennis McDonald, yeah, that's weird. Dennis McDonald visited Fine Stinky at her home in California. But Fine Stinky felt McDonald hadn't crossed the country to negotiate as so much as to make their position clear. The White House's involvement was not received well, Fine Stinky said. Ultimately, the amount blacked out in the report was reduced to about 5% from 15%. What? How can you unredact a redaction? Do you erase the line? I mean, what the fuck does that mean? But Fine Stinky lost a major argument over using pseudonyms to refer to CIA officers. She wanted to change names. I don't know, man. This is just becoming real. The more I read, the more, like, hilarious this shit gets. But it really, honest to God, isn't funny because it's real. Ugh. I want to pull my hair out. Administration officials argued that identifying the agents, even by a pseudonym, would put them in jeopardy. Yeah, right, interest in national security. In the end, most of the names of the CIA officers were blacked out. Only some senior level office officials were mentioned by their true names. The study showed that management was poor for the interrogation program, Fine Stinky said, and that some analysts were given operational orders against normal practice. Well, yeah, do you think? That's what the CIA always does. We have to get this report out, Fine Stinky said, even if she had to give in on some of her demands for transparency. Yeah, right. We will find another way to make known some of the problems. The interrogations undermined, quote, societal and constitutional values that we are very proud of, Fine Stinky said. Oh my God. And anybody who reads this is going to never let this ever happen again. Yeah, right. Bullshit. Alright, that's the end of that piece of rag trash that I just read. Holy crap. Oh my God. Where in the hell is that from? The Los Angeles Times. No wonder. It's a piece of shit rag. Yikes. Alright, guys. Well, that just pisses me off. Thank God she's leaving. I mean, but it's like I said, the fucking asshole that's gonna replace her, sure, he's got an R behind his name, but I can guarantee you, none of this crap is gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be business as usual. This guy's gonna cover up, and he's gonna just go ahead. He'll probably reinstate and reopen all the CIA secret bases that probably really aren't really closed. They probably closed those ones that Obama cited to be closed and then reopened somewhere else around the world. I mean, that's how these fuckers operate, and everybody knows it. That's pretty much it for that. Alright, I got a whole half hour left. Now, I guess I can talk about this subject here. Hammy, this is another article that Hammy put in a chat early this morning before the show started, and again, I appreciate that. And I got a couple of things, so I could probably stretch it out, hopefully, and so we got the CIA doing all this torture, and you got all of that Abu Ghraib crap that happened with the detainees at Abu Ghraib. That all came out. I mean, so none of this stuff is shocking, or none of this stuff is anything new. And so we all understand that we're in there. The CIA runs around the entire world as literal economic hitmen, meaning that they go into places and they economically destabilize the region by whatever means necessary, whatever means that they deem necessary. There go the reasons to start wars in those regions and fund terrorists and blow stuff up and say, oh, look, we have to send in our guys because look at the terrorists, when really it's all the CIA doing all this crap. And they spurn on people to get pissed off at the West and create a blowback, as we all know. And so when our guys sign up for military duty, when they get right out of high school, most of them, because they need help paying for college, or they think they're going to be taken care of for the rest of their lives as promised in the recruitment center when they sign the name on the dotted line and become government property. When they finally get overseas or wherever they're going, they see all the crap that's going on there, and it becomes real difficult for a lot of these poor guys. And so what happens is a lot of these guys are killing themselves because they just can't take the fact that, my God, this isn't what I signed on for, and I've been lied to, and look what the hell's really going on out here. They can't take it anymore. And, the Army, obviously, and the military doesn't provide them with the correct gear to go out onto the battlefield, let alone provide psychological and mental health services for these poor guys when they're actually on duty and in combat. So we're seeing a lot of suicides there. But this is in USA Today from October 31st, so it was on last Halloween. It says, suicide surpassed wars, the military's leading cause of death. That is alarming, guys. Let me tell you right now, this is like the first time that in history of the world that this has got to be happening. I mean, I'm not a real history buff, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but I mean, it just seems like, has this ever happened at any point in history at all on this whole planet? I mean, that's crazy. So it says, war was the leading cause of death in the military nearly every year between 2004 and 2011, until suicides became the top means of dying for troops in 2012 and 2013, according to a bar chart published this week in a monthly Pentagon Medical Statistical and Analysis Journal. For those last 2 years, suicides outranked war, cancer, heart disease, homicide, transportation accidents, and other causes as the leading killer, accounting for about 3 in 10 military deaths each of those 2 years. That is mind-boggling right there, people. That is just that blows my freaking mind. Transportation accidents by a small margin was the leading cause of military deaths in 2008, slightly more than combat. Sorry. The fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan accounted for anywhere from 1 out of 3 deaths in the military in 2005 and 2010 to more than 46% of deaths in 2007 during the height of the Iraq scourge, according to the chart. More than 6,800 troops have died in Iraq and Afghanistan since 9/11, and more than 3,000 additional service members have taken their lives in that same time, according to Pentagon data. That is it's the end of the article there, but man, that blows my mind. And I'm pulling up the PDF of this. That's nuts. It says, let me just kind of scam over this here. Suicide and suicide attempts among active component members of the U.S. Armed Forces 2010-2012. Methods of self-harm vary by major geographic region of assignment. Another one says, Risk of type 2 diabetes and hypertension associated with chronic insomnia among active component U.S. Armed Forces 1998 to 2013. That sounds interesting. I'm just kind of scanning here. Interesting. Well, I don't know. It's just a medical report about the military there. Well, that is really a bad deal. Wow. This is unbelievably long. There's this neat thing. It's not neat actually. It's long. It's quite a long article. It actually has chapters to it, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to go cover all of this stuff in a half hour. But it is called America's Military: A Force Adrift, and this is from Military Times. How the nation is failing today's troops and veterans. It says, Chapter 1, a worsening morale crisis. After 13 years of war, troops feel burned out and without a sense of mission, more doubt than their leaders and their job security. So, yeah, I mean, job security indeed, as they start increasing the use of drones. Literally, the military combat personnel, they're going to be losing their jobs to robots and drones and things of this nature. That transition is already starting to happen, and I believe many of these guys realize it. It says, for many, I don't know if I'm going to read this whole thing. I will read some of it, because I'm talking about it, and hey, I might as well read it. It says, for many of the war-weary troops who deployed to combat zones over and over again for 13 years, the end of an era of war in Iraq and Afghanistan is good news. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm interrupting myself, I thought I saw... Damn, hang on. I thought I saw something where... troops were pulling out of Afghanistan, and now I cannot find that. So I'm not going to talk about that. Where in the hell did that go? Okay, let me just continue to read. It says, but for Marine Sergeant Zach Cantu and other service members, it's a total morale killer. For many of them, particularly the young grunts and others in combat armed specialties, it's the realization that they may never go into battle for their country and their comrades. Most people in the Marine Corps are in because of the wars, said the 25-year-old Cantu, a former infantryman at Camp Pendleton, California. Cantu has Cantu has retrained as a telephone system and computer repairer, a specialty more likely to survive as the service downsizes. Now, everyone's coming to the realization it's probably not going to happen for me, he said. The wars against America's enemies have troops like Cantu, a normal give... I'm sorry, guys. I'm screwing up here. The wars against America's enemies gave troops like Cantu a noble purpose. Their training had focus. Their sacrifices were appreciated by a largely grateful nation. The gratitude was reflected from the White House to the citizen in the street, all of whom heaped praise upon military members for their service. Absolutely. Congress lavished generous pay increases and expanded benefits on them while spending deeply to provide the gear and weapons they needed. Well, I don't know about all that. Recruiters raced to grow the size of the services, and society vowed to never again undervalue the 1% of the country who stepped forward to keep them safe. Today, however, that gratitude seems to be dwindling. The services have weathered several years of deep cuts in funding, and tens of thousands of troops have been unceremoniously been given the boot. Many still in uniform are seeking to retire from the military, fear the same fate, as those cuts are not yet complete. And you know what, guys? If they shut down the government here in the next week or so, that's gonna just give them more reason to make more cuts everywhere, including the military, which is what happened the last time the freaking government shut down. A bunch of these guys got pink slipped, if you guys remember that. A military time survey of 2,300 active duty troops found morale indicators on the decline in nearly every aspect of military life. Troops report significantly lower overall job satisfaction, diminished respect for their superiors, and a declining interest in re-enlistment is now compared to just 5 years ago. Today's service members say they feel underpaid, Today's service members say they feel underpaid, under-equipped, underappreciated, said the survey data show. After 13 years of war, the all-volunteer military is entering an era fraught with uncertainty and a growing sense that the force has been left adrift. One trend to emerge, the annual military time survey, is that the mission mattered more to the military than to the civilians, said Peter Feaver, a political science officer at Duke University who studies the military. For the civilian world, it might have been easier to psychologically move on and say, well, we're cutting our losses, but the military feels very differently. Those losses have names and faces attached to them. Growing dissatisfaction. Troops say morale has sharply declined over the last 5 years, and most those in uniform believe today their quality of life will only get worse compared to 2009. More are unhappy with their pay and health care, and few trust that senior leaders fully support them. A closer look at what is driving this trend. And there's a big chart here, and this thing keeps going and going and going. I might as well just close the show like this. So, bare necessities. According to the Military Time Survey, active duty troops reported a stunning drop in how they rated their overall quality of life. Just 56% call it good or excellent, down from 91% in 2009. That's a pretty big jump. The survey conducted in July and August found that 73% of troops would recommend a military career to others, down from 85% in 2009. And troops reported a significant decline in their desire to re-enlist, with 63% citing an intention to do so, compared with 72% a few years ago. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. Let's see. Army Specialist David Potonik, I'm not saying that right, is one of the troops that has seen morale in his unit take a hit, though he can't really put a finger on why. Black Hawk mechanic with 2nd Battalion, 4th Aviation Regiment, 4th Combat Aviation Brigade at Fort Carlson, Colorado, Pachonik said stress levels in his unit seem to be on the rise, despite a softening deployment tempo. Fellow soldiers, he said, struggle to connect with what feels like excessive training in additional duties in garrison with operational readiness and the overall mission. these people who are really motivated, really high speed, but they don't seem to be a majority. He said, you'd think Garrison would be more relaxed, but it's frantic for no reason. Interesting. Maybe these guys feel something that's going on in their guts, is what I'm thinking. Because guess what? I feel the same thing in my guts. That something's about to pop off. Troops said more stress is created by long-term budget cuts imposed on the force through sequestration. The much despised, but apparently inexorable automatic spending reductions over a decade approved by Congress and drawn down measures designed to shrink the Air Force. An Air Force captain working in security forces and I can't even read this morning. An Air Force captain working in security forces said the fiscal insecurity is taking its toll, causing more workplace exhaustion and frustration and suicides. I'd have to add that. And personal career uncertainty, he said, is driving many of his colleagues out of the service, perhaps earlier than they would have departed. It makes it really hard for folks to build strong resumes for themselves if we can't provide the opportunities for them, both in and out of the service, he said. If they see us pitching pennies and we can't afford to send them to school, there's no long-term stability for them. So at that point, they start to look for a job outside, which you do not have the additional strain on their you do not have the additional strain on their family. Absolutely. I mean, aren't they promised like big fat college? Usually, they were. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I wonder if anybody knows that, if they don't promise college tuition anymore. I mean, they used to. I remember that. I don't know if that's changed or not. This is real long, and I've only got 10 minutes left. So I guess I'll just keep reading until the end. We are on the bare necessities, and sometimes not even that. For example, I need new boots, but they'll ask me, how long can you stretch that, he said. Holy shit, are you kidding? I mean, they won't even give these guys freaking boots? What are they going to do, run around with freaking duct tape, like attaching the soles? I mean, didn't they do that, like, way back in the day, like World War I? I mean, where they had to, like, improvise things to, like, on the battlefield? I mean, God, man, this is just sick. This is what Obama has done to our military in the 6 years that he's been their leader, the executive leader. Dismal outlook, do you think? Survey data shows that service members are also feeling the pain on their own wallets. Congress this year capped the military pay raise at 1% rather than the 1.8% that would have kept pace with the average annual growth in private sector wages. It is the first military pay raise since 1999 that did not at least keep pace with the private sector wages, and was also the lowest annual military pay raise in 40 years. Wow. No wonder everybody's so pissed off. I mean, if you really want to piss off your military, then do exactly what you're doing right now. I mean, it's working like a charm, really. And that's why there's so many suicides, because I believe that they're recognizing that, coming to the realization that this shit's going on purpose. Let's see. To save money, yeah, right. My ass. To save money, the Pentagon had sought to roll back the tax-free housing benefit provided to troops by, and in effect, making the troops pay 5% for their housing with out-of-pocket cash. Unbelievable. The new deal on Capitol Hill will result in next year's housing allowance covering 99% of estimated costs and troops themselves covering the 1% shortfall. Service members are unlikely to see an outright reduction in their housing allowance unless they change duty stations, but rates for troops moving into the new areas will be set slightly lower when compared to projected housing costs. Several services have also cut pay for special duty assignments, such as recruiters, divers, drill sergeants, and others, while promotions in some fields slow as competition for jobs during a drawdown heats up. And of course, the troops who have frequently collected hazardous duty and deployment pay over the last decade may now have fewer opportunities to do so. Wow. Oh my God, man. This is like, they're cutting out the troops is what they're doing, while meanwhile Russia and Putin is over there just adding more troops every freaking day, and we're obviously decreasing more troops every day. Holy crap. This is kind of a bad deal. In 2009, 87% of active duty troops who participated in the Military Times survey rated their pay allowances as good or excellent. This figure, that was 87%. This year, the figure was just at 44%. When asked how quality of life might change over the next several years, 70% of respondents predicted that it would decline further. So, yeah, guys, this is no wonder why everybody's killing themselves in this line of work. A Navy Fire Controlman chief with 10 deployments said budget fears are contributing to a feeling of distrust and abandonment. If soldiers are worried about not getting paid, how am I supposed to do my job, he said. I'm not an effective warfighter if I don't have the backing of my government at home. That's absolutely true. A pervasive sense of pessimism among the post-9/11 wars may also contribute to the overall feeling of dissatisfaction among troops and a feeling of detachment from the decision makers who sent them to those fights. Of those surveyed, 52% said they became more pessimistic about the war in Afghanistan in recent years. Nearly 60% felt the war in Iraq was somewhat unsuccessful or not at all successful. So that does not surprise me, because guess what? They're right. It's not successful whatsoever. It's emboldening our enemies, to coin a phrase that they often use. Keeping a wary watch. Despite the cloudy outlook, Pentagon officials report recruiting figures are as high as ever across the services. Data for the first quarter of fiscal 2014 showed that all services except the Army Reserve had achieved 100% of their recruiting goal or better. That's interesting. Predictably, retention also remains high, officials say, as most services look to their natural attrition to meet mandated reductions in force size, and many troops fight to save their place on active duty in spite of the quality of life and budget troubles. Many of them hang on only because prospects for good civilian jobs have been dismal for many years, and often those who land good jobs on the outside are those the military can least afford to lose. Last year, retired Army Lieutenant General David Barno joined a small course of military experts who decry a perceived brain drain. Barno wrote for the website Foreign Policy that the services are losing their most talented junior officers because enlisted leaders to opportunities in the civilian sector because military leadership wasn't providing them with the right opportunities or fighting hard enough to keep them. Departing Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel said, all military leaders are watching morale very closely, and for the most part, he believes it's holding up. Yeah, right. Did you read that, like, suicide? I mean, did you read the medical journal here, dude? Obviously he didn't read that bit. But of course he bailed, like most of the rats on this ship are. It says the reality is that every day I'm sure it is not jolly, Hagel told the Military Times on November 14th, but morale is critically important for any of us and any institution to do our jobs right. We watch it. We are concerned about it all the time. I think overall, the morale of our men and women in uniform, our civilians, is high. I know that there are different dimensions of that depending on the force. Man, what a piece of crap. This guy is just... I'm glad he's gone. Well, you know what? It is the end of the show, so I will stop right there with Chuck Stupid Hagel because he's an idiot and a wanker, and I'm glad he's gone. Oh, let's see. Very good. Let's see. Alright. Hold on here, guys. Alright, I'm just going to stop reading that now because it is the end of the show. But the schedule is all different. I think it's primer time at 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, and then at 9 is G. Michael Hoff, and we have like Kevin Blanche coming up next, which is always good. Get ready for the bleep. There's the bleep button. The bleep counter right underneath the UCY.TV chat room, and we always bleep the fucks that Kevin says, and we tried to do that last Saturday, guys, and Kevin Blanche, we figured, said fuck over 500 times in a 1 hour time span. So it was really, really fun just to try and keep up with hitting that button. And he's just talking on a stream of consciousness level, which is what he does great with. So it was kind of hard after like number 300. I just kind of went, whoa, I can't do this clicking anymore. So it was fun, and I was laughing for the first entire half hour because it was really hard to keep up with it. So if you guys want to endeavor to do that, oh yes, and of course Chuck is on at 6 o'clock tonight, guys, just before primer time. So thank you, Charles, for reminding me of that. I'm sorry, the schedule's changed, and so the schedule that's posted right now is all askew. So yes, it's the Ocelli Effect at 6, and then I believe primer time at 8, and then I believe it's G. Michael Hoff at 9, and then I think Prepper Chicks is at 10. So then the other stuff that comes after that. Stay tuned, guys. Have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow and have fun. Whatever you're doing. Take care, all.